Good morning, Centre for Effective Living Community. It's Valerie Ling here, clinical psychologist, and of course not of course, but so happens to be also the person who founded the Centre for Effective Living, now located in the Upper North Shore suburb of Gordon. Very exciting. Yesterday we started the building process of the practice, and I went in and had a look at the walls and trying to figure out things like where we're going to put furniture, etc. Good morning, Jen. How you going? It was so lovely to see you. Gold Coast over the weekend. I wish I had given you more of a hug. I was a little depleted in energy that weekend, having had sort of airport difficulties and flight difficulties, but lovely to have you hop on. So I thought I would hop on this morning, prompted by two things that occurred this week that I thought I would share with you. The first is that I got called out this week for sharing with a fellow psychologist something that was running through my mind, a kind of an anxiety that was running through my mind. And the psychologist friend who I was sharing this with basically let out a giggle and said to me, "Valerie, what are these lies that you are feeding yourself?" And it really took me aback. You know, when we say lies, it sounds so serious, doesn't it? When kids lie or when someone lies to you, there's like this breach of trust and confidence, and it's like the precursor to what else is in our relationship that maybe isn't straightforward or isn't transparent. And when someone lies to you, you immediately go into red alert and think, oh my goodness, is this a person I can trust? So it was confronting that my psychologist friend asked me the lies I was saying to myself. Me, the person that I think I can trust and who knows me intimately is me. I'm telling myself some lies. And as soon as she said this, it just like struck me so hard. And as I thought to myself, what is this lie? What am I actually saying to myself? And how do I know that it's not true? She seemed to think so confidently that it wasn't true. And of course, I had to ask myself the question, how is it that I'm telling this lie to myself, but someone who knows me and who pretty much this year has walked with me through some significant periods of my year is telling me that it's a lie? The first thing that I realized is that sometimes the messages that we say to ourselves come from old scripts that we've never questioned before, right? It could be because as we are growing up, we encounter situations and we encounter relationships that impact us so profoundly, and then we never talk about them again, and we just absorb the messages and the interpretations that we make of that particular situation, and the messages that we then just accept from a long time ago just continue to play out in our everyday life. In particular, for example, the situation that my friend was confronting me about, there's old messages of believing that I would fail at things, particularly things that are new. Anybody here change anxious? How do you guys feel about change? Let me know. Send me a message or write in the comments down below. What do you like with change? For most people, any kind of change brings up some kind of anxiety, and some old messages that I've had growing up, particularly when I was in school and I would put my hand up to try something new and then just get this kind of experience that made me think that no, you're never going to be able to do this. And so first of all, these experiences can go way back and we don't even question it because it's just always been there. The second thing that happened to me this week, good morning, Kim. thanks for watching, was that we've now officially moved everything out of our old practice in Wesley, and we were moving stuff, and of course we've been in Wesley now for, I always get the years mixed up because the storyline in my head, it's all like jumbled as to when I actually started, but let's say for argument's sake it's about 6 years now. And as all the stuff was being moved around, I'd spotted the what you would call this part of the glasses. It just eludes me right now, but this, right, there was a client many years ago who came to see us, left their sunnies, and then unfortunately for some reason this part of their sunnies dropped off, and of course we couldn't find it. Lo and behold, as we moved things around, there it was behind the desk, just that arm of the sunnies, and I was delighted to find it. And then I thought to myself, gosh, moving like this really uncovers a lot of stuff that you've lost or you've forgotten, that you didn't know was there. And I think that's kind of a theme to life as well. When you come into therapy, this is what I was thinking about. When someone starts therapy, it can often be quite a confronting and weight-bearing exercise as we move the different blocks of life around, and we move the different situations and themes around, and you start to discover things. And most of the time we actually discover a process of truths and lies. What are the things that we've been saying to ourselves that are actually lies to ourselves, and we've just assumed that that is the truth and that reality, and we just keep going with it. And when we actually go through a process of therapy, sometimes it can actually feel really weighty, and sometimes we may want to run away from it. I certainly wanted to run away from what my friend was saying, because now she's actually confronting me to say, I'm calling it. I don't think that that's the truth. But we discover these things and we bring them to the light. And then what do we actually do? Well, let me pause there and come back to my story. So my friend who has journeyed with me for 12 months has accrued some evidence, some actual factual things that she can mirror back to me. She can take me through all these different situations I've been through where there's been a change or something new or a decision I've had to make. And we go through the process really of reflecting back, well, when that happened, you did this, and then this happened. Was that a failure? Did you fail? We make mistakes sometimes. Did you learn from it? Did you grow from it? And there's this accruing of evidence that we then pick up and we share back, and then we actually look the original lie statement and say, so can you 100% say that that is true? Well, no, I don't think you can. And that is what happens in therapy. Though in the beginning it feels heavy and weighty as you're moving things around, and you get confronted maybe by some things that you had just assumed were true. But in the process of fact finding, making connections, and discovering the events in your life and in your world that can recast that message, modify that message, or work on that theme in your world, you actually get to the point where you can release that stuff and introduce yourself to new ways of seeing yourself, your life, and introducing new emotions that come with it. So I just wanted to leave that with you, because the festive season is often a time where these themes can really be reenacted for us as we interact with people from our past, as we really start to question our capabilities. Life gets kind of weighty and speeded up at the moment, and we engage in so many different relationships that we may just go on automatic pilot and just assume that some of the messages that we're saying to ourselves are true and factual. And so I just want to encourage you that that may not always be the case. And having someone walk with you and journey with you for a period of time to help you to see what the reality is can truly be a very liberating experience. We're about to post a blog that Daniela, our therapist aide, wrote this week on a process called cognitive behavioral therapy. As a little primer that she's written, I'll post it in our Facebook page and encourage you to have a look. Jen says, you love that analogy. Do you, Jen? I'm glad you do. I bet you can relate because you do the same work that I do with your clients. Catch you later, everybody.